So thus far, I've made two 53-man roster predictions for the Los Angeles Rams. However, we have had another preseason game, so it's time to update those predictions. Let's get into the video. So just this past Sunday, I put out my 53-man roster projection following our first preseason game. However, we have had another preseason game on Saturday that I need to update these projections after we have come into some new information on just who's playing well and who is not. So today we're going to be talking about who's going to possibly be our starters, who's going to be making just the cut. We're going to be talking about who's going to be making the Rams team for the 2023 NFL season for week 1. So if you guys are ready, let's strap in and get it going. There's just a week and by the way, this is going to be the Rams Wire. They do their projections and I kind of make my list off of theirs, just so I don't have to make all the other stuff. So we're going to basically talk about whether or not I agree on theirs, and then I'll give my thoughts on who will make it over them or if it's just the same as they have. So first, at quarterback, we're going to have Stetson Bennett as well as Matthew Stafford. This doesn't, surprise us in any way. However, if Brett Rypien does play well, he could make that cut if Stetson Bennett continues to play bad like he did in week 2. It's still pretty clear that they're just going to go with the Georgia Bulldogs quarterback room. However, Stetson Bennett needs to step it up in week 3 if that is going to be the case. Bennett didn't play particularly well against the Raiders Saturday night, but that shouldn't change the fact that the Rams are likely to keep just 2 quarterbacks. They should be able to sneak Brett Rypien into the practice squad as a 3rd quarterback, which will allow him to keep another extra player at another position. While Bennett clearly has work to do, keeping Rypien on the 53-man roster shouldn't be necessary. Honestly, I agree. Having Rypien there is really unnecessary unless Matthew Stafford or Stetson Bennett gets hurt. So I'm liking this. Hopefully Stetson Bennett plays better next week. Moving on to the running backs, this actually got a lot more clear this week as well. Cam Akers, Kyren Williams, Zach Evans, and Ronnie Rivers going to be the 4 running backs. It's just clear at this point that Ronnie Rivers has done enough to make the roster, and then Zach Evans being a rookie and playing well in training camp as well as preseason, going to make that team. And then Cam Akers and Kyren Williams have done enough in the past season to obviously be a starter and backup. So this is just a clear thing, but the Rams did sign Royce Freeman after Sony Michel retired, but he hasn't done enough to secure a roster spot. Assuming that they keep Evans because of his status as a rookie, Rivers should be the 4th running back on the team. So I agree with this completely. No notes there. Wide receiver, this is an interesting one. Someone to note: Demarcus Robinson didn't play very well. He's not going to be in the conversation for his starter. Really, it's just between Tutu and Puka at this point for the conversation for the starter. Puka did not play this week, and Tutu Atwell obviously not playing either. Puka and Tutu will most likely be battling it out for starter in the practice, so no problem there. And Van Jefferson, Cooper Kupp obviously going to be our starters. Ben Skoranek has obviously done enough in past seasons to make this team, and Tyler Johnson has been playing very well. Other than that little miscommunication that they had on the pick 6, Tyler Johnson had a very good preseason game week 1. So really, Demarcus Robinson just needs to step up, but he's probably done enough to also make this roster. These will be your 7 receivers unless Demarcus Robinson continues to S the bed. You know what I'm talking about. But either way, moving on to tight ends. This gets a little bit more confusing here just because we did trade for Hunter Long. He wasn't the main part of the trade, but we did trade for him. And Davis Allen just played absolutely amazing in the preseason game too. So I'm a bit confused here on whether Hunter Long should even make this team and we should just run with 3 tight ends. But Tyler Higbee and Bryson Hopkins are locks. Davis Allen just shot up and probably secured his spot with how well he played with 8 catches and 53 yards. So definitely something to watch going into preseason game 3 right there with Hunter Long and Davis Allen. Offensive tackle, we got Rob Havenstein, Alaric Jackson, Warren McClendon Jr., and Logan Bruss. Logan Logan Bruss did just hurt his ankle, I believe, but I still believe he'll probably make the team, just being a backup at right tackle. I would like to see him at guard. I'd rather see him there, but yeah, I'm sure that the Rams aren't going to cut their former third-round pick. They're going to give him at least one more year. If he continues to do bad, could possibly get cut. But Havenstein and Alec Jackson most likely going to be starting. Center and guard, we have Steve Avila, Coleman Shelton, Brian Allen, and Joe Noteboom and Tremaine Ingram. Now, I believe Brian Allen should be starting at center. Steve Avila and maybe Coleman Shelton will start, or possibly Joseph Noteboom. Unless the Rams surprise us and keep Mike McAllister, Zach Thomas, the group of centers and guards are unlikely to change. Ingram and Noteboom are battling at right guard, while Avila and Allen or Shelton will start at left guard and center. Avila is going to start at left guard. That's already going to happen. And Shelton will probably be battling for center, but I assume that Brian Allen will win that battle. Defensive line, here we go. We got Aaron Donald, Bobby Brown, Marquise Copeland, Ernest Brown IV, Kobe Turner, and Jonah Williams. We need to step it up here. Kobe Turner, I'd like to see a lot more out of him next week. But we just have not been playing well. That might be because they're not used to not playing with Aaron Donald, who just garners so much attention. So they don't have to do as well during practice in the preseason. So hopefully we can just turn it up when Aaron Donald comes on the field. But these 6 are pretty much locks. So that's kind of where we're at this moment. Outside linebacker, we're going to have Michael Hoyt, Byron Young, rookie. He didn't even get any playing time. McVay said it was because he was a little banged up, but he got a lot of good work in at practice this past week, so that's good to hear. Michael Hoyt, and then Daniel Hardy and Nick Hampton. Nick Hampton being a rookie should get the benefit of the doubt, and then Keir Thomas played very well. Both weeks having 2.5 sacks through 2 preseason games. So Mathis could possibly make the team, but he has a knee injury, so he might be on practice squad for a bit longer, and we'll see what happens during the season. At inside linebacker, we're going to have Ernest Jones, Kristen Roseboom, and Jake Hummel. Personally, I think Jake Hummel is making his case to be a starter out there with Ernest Jones, but we'll have to see. With his pick 6 against the Raiders, Hummel continued to cement his spot on the 53-man roster. I believe he's done enough to get it right now. Jones and Roseboom are still entrenched as the 2 starters, but Hummel has earned a chance to be a 3rd linebacker and a special teams player. I think if he plays well next week, he could possibly be in line for starter. So keep it up, Roseboom. Keep playing well. Cornerbacks, we have Kobe Durant, Akella Witherspoon, Darion Kendrick, Robert Rochelle, Trey Tomlinson, and Sean Jolly. Now, Trey Tomlinson has been playing very well, done enough to possibly be a starter. A lot of Rams fans are kind of joining me in that sentiment. But I think Trey Tomlinson will be that 3rd guy personally. But Darion Kendrick should be returning to practice. We'll see what happens with him. But these 2 just have a bit more veteran experience than obviously Trey Tomlinson does. But I'm very happy with where our secondary is at. I was a bit scared going into the season. I actually like where we're at now. Jolly sneaks onto the roster. We'll see if he makes it. I'm not too sure if this is a player that I actually don't maybe agree with. But we do kind of need 6 players. So the Rams could get away with keeping just 5 cornerbacks, like I said. But we'll have to see what happens. Week 2 of the NFL season, we could have a bunch of injuries, and we can have a lot of guys that join the team. So in terms of safety, we have Jordan Fuller, John Johnson III, Russ East, and Quentin Lake. So we have rookie safety Jason Taylor dropping off. He should be a strong practice squad candidate, but he hasn't made enough noise this summer, and he may miss Saturday's game with an undisclosed injury. This will be an important final week of practice for him, assuming he's healthy, because the Rams will be just fine with 4 safeties. If we only have 4 safeties, we should have 6 cornerbacks. But Jason Taylor II, hopefully if he, possibly he could get switched out here for Sean Jolly. Obviously, they don't play the same position. I'm not, saying that's how it is, but we just should have 10 combined players between the secondary. Special teams, we obviously just have Tanner Brown, Ethan Evans, and Alex Ward. Ethan Evans having a very good game this week, only 1 touchback. It was averaging like 57 yards per punt, which is very good. Tanner Brown, made everything. So let's hope he plays well going into next week as well. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for the 53-man roster projection. What do you guys think about that projection? Do you have any differences of opinion? I pretty much agree with everything, other than possibly that Jason Taylor, and a few other things as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.